Oh, this is Michael, and we're doing a series called the Tank Reboot Series, and this is 3B Aquatics, and we're doing a reboot on this tank right here, there. It has a bunch of shrimp. That's wild because we haven't been controlling it since all this horn work and stuff.
Yeah, it started out as some high-end cherry shrimp, huh?
Yep, into this.
Yep. So we got some red rillies, some black rillies, some kind of wild ones.
Indoraptors.
Okay.
What? It's their name. They look like an Indoraptor.
And we've got some of the Venezuelan red Corydoras in here, as well as some dwarf African catfish. I think
the female has eggs.
I forget which variety is the dwarf one, the Petricola or something like that.
The female Corydoras catfish has eggs, so.
Yeah. So we're trying to clean up this tank, give them a little bit more room. We'll be setting up a breeding tank for the dwarf African catfish.
So they can lay their eggs without get eaten.
Because we do have a couple that have paired off. We have like 6 of them in this 20-gallon tall tank, and a couple of them have paired off, and the females look very fat with eggs. So it's a good time for us to separate them out into some breeding colonies as soon as we figure out where we can have some room to set up the tank for them. But that'll be a future video. So again, as Michael said, this is the Tank Reboot Series. And welcome back to 3B Aquatics. For those of you that have seen us before, we're just starting. Hopefully we'll add some value for you, and kind of maybe you'll get some tidbits as we go along.
Subscribe and like.
Yep, subscribe and like.
Oh, and we have a bunch of flame moss that's been overgrown.
Yeah, well, that'll be a tank we're going to do a reboot on too, so they'll be able to see that too. So with that, I'm going to let Michael use this camera to give us some B-roll footage, and then I'm going to clean up this tank and record it. And again, if you have any questions or comments as we go through this, this isn't live, so you'll have a chance to just leave some constructive comments or criticisms, or what you'd like us to record for you in the future down in the comments, and we'll read all of them and take them into consideration as we go, and hopefully you enjoy this. So those of you that have seen some of our stuff before, we're using this as kind of a learning tool for Michael and Kian and myself as well. I'm trying to capture that. Hopefully you guys learn along with us.
Yeah.
We've done a aquascape contest. That's a future update that we'll do of those tanks. It's been about a year now since those have been up.
Vote for me.
And they're doing pretty well. We've just upgraded the lighting. The stock lighting on those Tetra tanks just wasn't sufficient to grow much of anything besides algae.
Oh.
So we upgraded them.
And we're doing more channels. What? We aren't?
Well, that's not something we talk about here.
Oops.
This is the fish channel, so we want to keep on topic. So.
Sorry, guys. My bad.
All right, so there's all kinds of shrimp, as we pointed out before, within this hornwork.
They're everywhere.
Okay, I can probably see that, so back off so that we don't see it in the...
They're everywhere.
So I'm going to kind of shake it. Hopefully the shrimp kind of take the hint and escape before I pull it out of here. But I will put this hornwork in a tank or in a bucket so we can collect them back out.
I've never seen all this in a long time. Huh? What? Oh, sorry. Guys, if you see my foot or something,
yeah,
I'm kind of new at this, so don't judge me.
Don't judge you. Yeah, so we'll give these guys a chance to get out of the hornwork, and then we will put them in a bucket so they can.
Look how much
Holy cow! Look at this.
Look how
you're
much.
probably in the shot, Michael. So back off.
I'm not in the shot.
Okay.
See? Look, I'm not in the shot. The first one.
There's some snails in here too.
And if they're rainform,
We'll probably want to put some of this back in here for the shrimp.
I've never seen this in a long time.
This is going to be messy because the duckweed is just getting all over the place.
This tank is pretty. I never seen this tank in a long time.
It's been buried and overgrown.
By a long time. How long has it been?
This one has been up for over 3 years, or right at 3 years.
And
Oh, look at that shrimp just jumping out.
hey, what? It just the shrimp just got on my dad's watch.
Yeah.
It must like your watch.
Okay,
It must like
so
your
I'm gonna-
watch, Dad.
I'm gonna dump that on here.
Hey, look at all this. You better don't kill no shrimp.
And then I'm gonna put them in a bucket.
Guys, look how much shrimp there are. This is crazy. They've been breeding so long. This is how much shrimp we have. I don't know how much. The estimate is 100. Maybe more because this has been up for 3 years and they've been breeding in here for 3 years. This horn stuff.
Hornwort.
Horn. That was backwards.
That's alright. At least we know the name of it, right? Some of our plants we forgot what the names were.
Yeah. Ooh! Dad, look at that female. We bred that one and it has a kind of orange-red line.
Yeah, there's some cool shrimp in here. We definitely need to grade them out and separate them.
Yeah, we need to separate these guys right here. We're not going to feed them because they'll probably get their color.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're wild. You have to give them some time. You cannot just...
Look.
Oops. Don't put that on the lights.
Yeah.
Now this female beta right here, it's a violet female beta. And she has full of eggs. She hasn't been breeding for a while.
That's actually one of our first babies that we bred.
It's a violet. I can't believe it's purebred though. It's a violet. If I'm saying it wrong, just put on the comments below.
Pay attention to what you're...
Oop.
There you go.
Sorry.
And that's a learning experience, right?
I know. I'm only
And
10
this plant's kind of grown.
Ooh, what is that?
I forget what it is, but
As we said,
this hasn't been growing in the substrate, so
it has been growing.
just kind of floating.
It has been growing though. It's a
Yeah.
pretty good plant. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty. And you are pretty too. As well.
All right, look at them swarming.
They're everywhere. I can't believe how much we have. Is that a brown shrimp? Oh, that's the Indoraptor shrimp. It's kind of brown, but oh well. Wait.
Looks like we have some Java moss in here.
Yes, have a moose. Oh, I thought that was a blue shrimp. I'm like, did we? Oh,
Look at that moss.
we have black shrimp. Oh, cool. We can put that with the betas. Oh yeah, we bred koi betas. They're still not hatched. We don't know if there's any eggs though. And there they are. These African dwarf catfish behind there.
Yep.
If the female comes out, what? Oh, what? Dad, get the shrimp out.
No, it's okay.
It has a red head and a blue body.
Okay.
We
Blue
must breed
again.
that. He has a white blue. I thought I saw a blue one, but I didn't see the front head with their little eyes.
It's already looking a lot better than it was.
Ooh, a black
Just by
rib.
pulling out some of that hornwort, which
Yeah, it looks better already.
it'll grow back real fast.
Yeah, real fast.
But it looks like we need to, want to hand me that towel?
Huh?
Right behind you.
I can sort of.
All right. Hopefully, Michael, you're standing right in front of it. Here, let me flip this around so we
Oops.
can kind of see. So we're kind of blocking the video just a little bit.
I'm trying to video though. I'm a beacon. Oh well. You'll still see
Look
it.
at all the shrimp in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys on the camera can see that. Michael, why don't you zoom in? It's all right, you can get in
Huh?
that shot. See if you can get in there and show.
Look, guys.
Go slow so it can focus.
Guys, look at all these shrimp.
The whole ground is moving with them.
We really need to sell some of these guys.
Well, we got to grade them first and get them back to where the state they were in because they're kind of.
Ooh, a brown red. We have different colors in here.
So you can see the Petricola, if I'm saying that right, Petricola dwarf African
There they are.
catfish over there.
It's the female. That's a really
And then you can see the Venezuela red
Venezuelan.
Corydoras
Well,
in
they're
there.
stirring up the mold.
Yep.
Stop stirring up the mold.
They're excited too, I guess.
Probably. Wait, is that the female? What? Do we have 3 in here? I didn't know we had 3.
3 what?
These guys.
There's 6 of the dwarf African catfish, and I think there's
must-
5 or 6 of the
The-
Venezuelan.
They're good
Red.
at hiding though.
Yeah.
Even how big they are. Well, they're still dwarf, but you know.
Yeah.
The regular ones are huge.
Yeah.
Is there any orange shrimp? I wanted to see if there's any orange shrimp. Look, guys, they're swarming. Because we had orange shrimp in there until all these endlers, all the endlers that ate the pumpkin spice shrimp, I named them. Because they're orange. Like pumpkin spice kind of. We weren't about to breed them until all these guys happened.
All right. So, boy, it looks like I'm going to have to carefully do a light vacuuming to get the junk off the bottom that's collecting some
There's
of
an
those
aquatic
snails.
vacuum? You have a vacuum that goes in here?
It's the siphon with the right back there on the rack.
Oops.
Yeah.
I did not know that, but okay.
I usually do that when you're not around.
I cannot believe
But
how
it's going to be
much-
interesting doing that with all those shrimp in there.
Ooh.
And then we probably need to pick up some of these snail shells. That we had a bunch of mystery snails breed in here, several different batches, and it looks like most of them have
died because they
died
kind
back
of
and
like
outcompeted by everything else in the tank. So we'll pull out those shells and make it look a little bit better in here.
like Cookie slayed all these snails. She ate all those. See, look. I don't know if it's a she, but we just
Yeah.
call her a she.
Cookie is a Shoutdeni puffer,
Yeah, bird.
Congo puffer. So we'll love her, or him, whatever it is. One of these days we'll get another one to breed, but
Well, we're gonna name 2 of them. We already have the Cookie. You cannot survive without the chocolate and chip.
so you're thinking we need 2 more of those?
Yes, it's $400 though.
Yeah,
Cause-
$200 a piece.
Because when we breed them, they get about, here's a fact about them, they get 300 babies, I think. 300 eggs, actually. Well, if they don't die.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the goal, is to not let them. Die
if
and
we
raise
have
them.
all 300 of them and they're still alive and they grow up to be good size,
That would pay for a lot of our fish room, right?
yeah, and then you guys get to see more cool stuff,
Yeah.
actually.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to stop the camera right here, and I'll pick up some of the snail shell and do a little vacuuming. I've kind of kicked up some of the mold and stuff off the bottom, so it's a little bit harder to see. Michael, step back just a little bit so we can. There you go, so everybody can see it. And then we'll be back after that. All right, so there you have it. There's still a lot of stuff floating around even after the 25% water change. That'll settle out. Filter will pick it up, and we'll do another water change and get that cleared up. Probably include a still photo or something of what it ended up at the end, so you don't just see the messy interim condition. But that one plant that we pointed out earlier, this one over here that was floating, it didn't want to stay. There was no roots yet, so it just wanted to keep floating. So I glued it to a small rock with super glue to keep it down, and hopefully it'll develop some roots down there. or continue to grow as is, which is fine. Looks pretty good. So we'll see how that works out. And of course, we've got still all the shrimp in here of all varying kinds and grades. So we'll need to start spending some attention on this and separating the grades, and maybe starting up a separate tank for each of the different grades, like the good cherry ones, the red rillies, the black rillies, the blacks, the chocolate, or whatever you want to call them. They're kind of a chocolate with this stripe. This guy over here. And see if we can start working on those lines, get them to breed true. That'll probably be a long-term project if we have enough attention span. As I've said in some of the other videos, this is just a hobby that's kind of gone crazy. I still have a 9-hour-a-day job, so plus other activities with the family and the kids. So, you know, the tanks aren't pristine, but they're very healthy. And we try and go through like what we're doing with this Tank Reboot Series, and you know, get them back to what we'd like them to be originally, what we kind of saw them to be originally, and clean them up, and then cycle through doing that to all the different tanks. And I started out with a bunch of bare bottom tanks that I figured would be easier to breed or grow out, and I just didn't like the look, so I've been gradually going through the fish room and kind of aquascaping each tank to have its own kind of look and feel depending on what fish are in there at the time, and you know, trying to get with plants. Plants are kind of new to us the last 4 or 5 years, so we've learned a lot. We're learning a lot, and trying to get them, figure out which ones are best for our water. We're on a well, and so we RODI it and then remineralize it, which is kind of a hassle, but seems to be the only way to keep the quality consistent. So with that, we'll do some stills later, and show you kind of once this thing settles and we get some of the shrimp out of there. And maybe we'll do an update on the shrimp. Again, tell us what you want for content. There's a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of YouTubers that are doing fish stuff. We don't necessarily want to compete with them. We're not trying to, you know, do this necessarily as a business. It'd be nice to.
I'm better.
It'd be nice to get it to pay for some of the cost of having it, but you know, we're just going to enjoy it no matter what.
It's fun.
Right. Exactly. It's something for the kids to learn responsibility and to learn about the different fish and ecosystems and stuff, and we try and make a good environment for them so that they can feel comfortable and maybe breed for us so that we can sell some of the fish and make some money back to pay for the food and bring in more content
cool
and
fish and plants.
Exactly.
Because if you guys want to see more, you can like grow, and you might want some stuff because you have some stuff because we've been, you know, we have a few stuff.
Yeah, eventually we might ship, or maybe we'll sell our stuff through, you know, like Get Gills or Aquabid or something like that. But
yeah,
right now it's just kind of local only, and we're just kind of out there on Craigslist some, and then just word of mouth.